What's going on, people? We are Tottenham TV here. Another semi-final defeat.
8 in a row.
8 in a row. We've lost 2-1 to Man Utd at Wembley, missing out on another chance to make the FA Cup final. Let's get into the player ratings.
Alright, so we'll start with Michel Vorm. We gave him a 4. Let's be honest, it all comes down to that second goal at the end of the day. People say he probably should have done better, and I tend to agree with that. I think it was pretty much in the centre of the goal, although it did go through Ben Davies's legs. It was pretty close to him, and I think one of Lloris's strengths is how he collapses his body and gets down low. He's very good at that, and the fact that Vorm just couldn't get to that Herrera shot speaks volumes of the difference between him and Hugo Lloris in that moment.
Yeah, well, we haven't had a good goalkeeping performance for about 3-4 games now.
Do I blame Poch though for playing Vorm in this game?
I do.
Me personally, I think he's a cup keeper. I don't care. I think most teams have cup keepers, and I think that I don't blame him. I think he was within his right to choose to stick with Vorm, considering Hugo's poor form anyway. And I think given that Vorm's played all the other rounds, and if Poch felt like he earned the right to play, then
it's absolute bullshit. You play your biggest game of the season, your chance to win a trophy, get to the final of the FA Cup, and you don't play your strongest team. That is absolute bullshit. You get to the latter stages of the cup, the semi-final, the final, you play your best team. As simple as that. We're not here to be nice to players.
It's not about being nice, it's about players earning their opportunity.
He hasn't earned his opportunity.
Hasn't he? He's played
Why
all the other rounds.
Why has he earned his opportunity? He's not the best keeper at the club.
He's played all the other rounds.
So what? He's played the other rounds against lower league opposition.
It's up to Poch.
It is up to Poch, and I feel he's made a mistake.
I'm not going to lambast it. I don't think that's I don't think having Vorm in goal is what cost us the game, though. Saying that he probably could have done better for the second goal. Saying that Hugo's made mistakes in recent weeks. Who knows?
I agree that, but it was a mistake that you would have put not your house, but you would have thought Hugo would have saved that. But look, obviously it's not a deciding factor of us losing, but when you're talking about an FA Cup semi-final, your chance to get to a FA Cup final, what we haven't done since '91, you play your best team, finished.
It's hard to disagree with that. All right, we'll move on.
We move on to Ben Davies. I thought we gave him a 5. I thought he had a pretty horrible time, especially against Sanchez.
It was more Lingard, wasn't it, on the right-hand side?
Yeah, but I thought Sanchez was all around, wasn't he? Sanchez had a great game. He was peppering us. Lingard also was giving him troubles, but he didn't have a great game overall, did he?
I thought they were getting in behind him a bit too easily, especially in the first half, a bit near the end. It was interesting. I think it took its toll that he was playing 3 games in a week. He went off a bit early, didn't he? For Lamelo,
we actually said that, didn't we? At the beginning of the week, Danny Rose is injured.
Yeah, he's going to have to play 3 games.
How's Ben Davies going to play all these 3 games?
He went off after about 65 minutes. He put Vertonghen left back and he brought on Lucas. I thought Davies did look a bit leggy in that game. It wasn't his best, and maybe it just took his toll, him having to play 3 games a week, considering the way we play, we demand so much from our fullbacks. Him not having that rest in midweek probably cost him a bit in fitness-wise in this game, and he got caught out a bit, I felt. And going forward, there wasn't much to it in terms of creating opportunities or whatnot.
He wasn't creating an outlet for us, was he?
Saying that, I think for the whole team, you can probably give 2 ratings for the first 20 minutes and probably the rest of the game. And I thought he was actually pretty good in the first 20 minutes, but yeah, he tired pretty quickly.
Yeah.
All right, moving on to Kieran Trippier, and we gave him a 6. I thought he was actually absolutely phenomenal in those first 20 minutes. He was our best player in the first 20 minutes. He was absolutely fantastic. If he carried on that kind of performance even for like an hour or 70 minutes, he would be on an 8 or a 9 in this game. But unfortunately, like the rest of the team, he dropped off. I thought he was phenomenal. He was getting an acres of space down that right wing. I thought he was giving Young loads of problems. He was nutmegging Pogba. He was getting interceptions.
He had the better of Ashley Young.
Yeah, big time. I thought even in Sanchez, the amount of times he was tackling him, he was getting in front of him, he was anticipating the passes. He was playing absolutely fantastic. But I just think that goal, when it went in at a really bad time when we were really on top. And he played that ball into Dembele. I know Dembele lost the ball, but he played him into trouble a bit. And he didn't really recover from it for the rest of the game.
All right, moving on to Jan Vertonghen. We gave him a 7. I feel he was probably our best player. Once again, we're saying it, Jan Vertonghen every week, man the match.
Superman.
If it wasn't for him, I kind of feared the worst for Tottenham, because we could have let in so many more goals if it wasn't for him. He was winning the ball back time and time again, but having said that, didn't really make a difference in it.
Pogba played that ball over his head for the goal, and Davis was trying to recover, but he couldn't for the first goal when Sanchez got the header in. I thought he was phenomenal, to be honest. I thought he was probably our outstanding defender yet again. I thought when he actually moved to left back, he still did a good job there. I thought he was marauding forward. He was, I think he nutmegged Sanchez, and he won a free kick, and I thought he was putting some crosses in. And I was, again, so impressed with Jan Vertonghen. He's just been our outstanding defender this season, and again, he proved today he's a level above.
Player of the season for me.
I agree with that.
It's a toss-up between him and Eriksen, but I'll probably give it to him.
I think Jan, just because he's so class.
Yeah.
All right, next up, Davinson Sanchez. We gave him a 5. A lot of talk whether he would play against Man United or if it was going to be Toby. He went with Sanchez, and unfortunately, apart from that wonderful pass for the first goal to Eriksen,
what a pass
absolutely
that
phenomenal.
Yeah.
Which is funny because Toby's usually the one with amazing long passes, and Sanchez proved how good he can be there. But apart from that, I thought actually he was a bit shaky. I think for the second goal, he lost out to the header to Lukaku, which led to Sanchez getting the ball in it. Led to it falling to Herrera. He had that horrible moment in the second half as well when the ball bounced over his head, and it nearly cost us Sanchez nearly getting in. And I thought just a few times he was shaky, and I thought he struggled to deal with Lukaku, who was pulling him out wide, and he was pulling him all over the place.
He was getting bullied.
And he was losing a few headers. Lukaku, I felt I had the better of him, and it was another learning curve I felt for Sanchez, and a lot of question marks whether the experience of Toby would have helped in this game.
And now this brings back the question which I was asking you a few months ago, or a month ago.
Yeah.
If Toby goes, do we need to sign a centre-back?
Well, I think we do, just because we can't rely on just 2 for the whole season anyway. So
you got Dyer, you got Foyth.
Yeah, but I think you need more quality in there. I feel like, because say if Vertonghen got injured.
But do you sign a squad player? Do you sign a first team player?
First team.
So someone to
compete with Sanchez. Because if Vertonghen got injured, what would we do?
Not someone to play understudy to Sanchez.
I'm saying if Vertonghen got injured, what would we do? We'd be screwed.
Yeah.
If Toby leaves, if Vertonghen got injured, where do we? We're going to have Sanchez and Dyer centre back. It's not awful, but it's not great. That's not
against a proper team, they'll get found out.
100%, it'll be all right against like the top. Everyone except like the top 7 will be fine. But then apart from that, it will probably be leaking goals a lot. So that would worry me. Sanchez, again, he's had a fantastic season in my opinion. He's young, he's 21. Even in some big games, Madrid, Dortmund, some other big games as well, Man United at home at Wembley in January.
Even Arsenal at the Emirates when everyone was terrible, he was a standout
absolutely
player.
Fantastic. However, it's his first season in this league.
It's not only that, it's his first season. He didn't have a pre-season with us, remember?
Also, he came in,
for a player that's 21, he comes straight into the side when he joined Spurs. No pre-season, nothing.
Big price tag.
Massive price tag. Has all the kind of recipe for disaster, really. Yeah. And he kind of slotted straight in. All right, he's not the finished article yet, but you have to give him time because the guy's a class act. Yeah,
you can see the potential's there. I think a lot of the time, you see him, the ball comes higher. He has that ability to chest it down. He has good control. But I just feel like he needs to work on his positioning. He needs to work on just his moments. So, you can learn so much from people like Toby and Vertonghen and that composure they have. He needs to learn that. And unfortunately, it was another learning curve from him for this game, and he'll learn from it. But
I feel he'll be much better next season after a pre-season.
But people bashing him and people saying he's rubbish, of course it's unfair. I think he's been, for what he's achieved this season, I think for his age, I think he's been absolutely phenomenal. And any criticism for him, it shouldn't be over the top. It should be constructive, because I think he's been absolutely fantastic.
I agree. All right, we move on to Moussa Dembele. We gave him a 4. I actually thought those first 20 minutes, he was absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
He was doing the stuff that we love Dembele to do. He was actually getting the better of Pogba. It all went downhill when Pogba mugged him off.
That moment changed the game for him,
really. It literally changed the game for him, because then on, he literally couldn't take on a man. He was losing the ball time and time again. And I don't know what happened to him. It just seemed like his confidence got knocked big time, and he never recovered from it.
Yeah, well, Pochettino took him off after about sort of 75 minutes for Lamela, didn't he? And I felt like, after that moment, something switched in him. He must have lost confidence or something, because he was losing the ball under no pressure whatsoever. He, struggling to get past anyone, and Pogba was really bullying him after that moment. I guess losing a goal like that, it can really affect a player. Maybe it affected his confidence the way he did it. But it was just a real shame, because in January, Dembele completely dominated Pogba. Pogba never got a sniff.
I don't even know if it was Pogba dominating him. I think it was Ander Herrera. I think
Herrera as well was all over.
I don't even think Pogba was even that great.
Well, except for that moment for the goal, wasn't it?
Yeah, but I'm saying throughout the whole game, I think Ander Herrera was their standout midfielder.
I disagree. I think Pogba was fantastic. I thought he was finding those pockets of space. He was getting shots off from outside the box, testing form. He played superbly throughout the game.
He wasn't really snuffing out Dembele though. That was more Herrera.
I guess, but I felt.
It's like he wasn't in Pogba's pocket. He was in Herrera's.
Yeah, but I felt Pogba was kind of running the show, in my opinion. That's how I felt. I thought, but just looking back to that game in January when we beat United at Wembley, Dembele was just all over him, completely dominated that centre midfield, and it just, after 20 minutes, it just wasn't there. He couldn't keep up those standards, and it just maybe is a question mark going into next season. First of all, his question marks of him leaving anyway, but second of all, even if he decides not to leave and stays, which I'd love, do we need another centre midfield in there just to compete with him, or can we rely on him for the whole season again? Question mark. And, Harry Winks now is back in a rehabilitation in Qatar. His ankle doesn't seem to be getting better. I think we need another ball-playing centre mid in there if Harry Winks doesn't recover.
Yeah.
All right, so we move on to Eric Dyer. We gave him a 6. I actually thought he was all right. I think, first half, I thought he was breaking up play. He won the ball off Matic quite a few times.
Hit the post, didn't he?
He hit the post exactly on the stroke of half-time. That goes in. Different story, I feel. But sometimes you get with Eric Dyer, he gets in those half pockets of space that he can whip a really good ball in and create a few chances, maybe for Kane or for someone in the box. Wasn't doing much of that. However, having said that, I thought he was playing some lovely balls over the top to Dele Alli on the run-in, which Dele could have probably done more with. He's playing some good long passes. He wasn't terrible. He wasn't by any stretch one of our worst players. But, we just need that extra in a FA Cup semi-final. I don't think he brought that.
I agree with you. Not much else to say on that one. We move on to Christian Eriksen. We gave him a 7. Yeah. Also, kind of on par with Vertonghen, maybe a bit less. Mm-hmm. He was our most creative outlet throughout the whole game, making us tick, but we didn't really tick, did we?
Didn't tick.
But he was trying to make us tick. That was the main thing. He was the only attacking player out there that kind of you had any hope for, to be honest.
He was only, especially in the second half, he was the only one getting on the ball and looking to create things, putting balls in the box, looking for little passes. The other players kind of were bereft of ideas. He was the only one, taking shots. And it was his ball for the first goal was an absolutely phenomenal cross for Dele Alli. We were so used to that kind of expert delivery from Christian Eriksen. And he had that shot, I know, pretty much our only shot in the second half where it went just wide.
And I felt kind of, when we went 2-1 down, every single player on our team and their heads dropped, but Eriksen was the only one that his head didn't drop, and he was actually trying to make stuff happen.
Yeah,
and that was actually the most sad thing about the whole game is how our heads dropped.
Because even if you look at games like Juventus, I thought with the team that never lacked belief, even when going 2-1 down. Even like when we played Chelsea, we were still creating chances when we went down. This game, we went down and everyone, it was kind of like
just resigned to defeat.
It was kind of like the players were like, oh, we've been here before. It was kind of like, not this again. And everyone's heads dropped. And everyone was panicking in possession. There was no composure. And it was like there was no way anyone thought we were going to get back in the game. And it was such a shame. But Eriksen, as you said, was the only one counter to that.
Yeah.
So Dele Alli, we gave him a 6. Actually, again, as we've said with most of these players, first 20 minutes, I thought he was phenomenal.
He was phenomenal.
He got a goal. He was playing lovely little passes into Harry Kane in the box. He was creating loads of stuff. But again, after we went behind, after he did that little dance for the first goal, his head dropped. And especially, I thought in the second half, I thought he really struggled. He was really panicking on the ball. He was like trying way too hard. When sometimes there was a nice pass out wide, space out wide for a cross to be delivered, and he was trying things when going through the centre clearly wasn't working. It was very congested, and Dele was struggling to find space, and he couldn't really get any joy.
And we all saw him after the game in his interview how devastated he was.
And he was damn right for what he said.
Yeah.
I feel, he said we can't keep doing this. You can't keep throwing away leads. And you saw he stopped himself from saying something that he probably was going to regret right at the beginning of the interview. And you can see how dejected he was. And it's hard to see that because
He wants to say I'm out of his losing club.
Yeah, you just get that feeling like he's like sick of it. He's sick of getting to these
big
games.
I don't. It's not just from him. I get the feeling. I get the feeling from most players.
Yeah, but you really saw it in his face when that interview. You just got that like he's sick of
getting the feeling from him. I'm getting the feeling from Dembele. Even
getting to this stage.
Even a bit
big
from
games,
Pochettino at the moment.
Getting to those games are just crucial moments, just letting it slip and letting those big moments pass us by and just not pushing on and taking an extra step. And it's getting really, really frustrating, even for the fan base. And you can see it's getting to the players now.
Yeah. All right, we move on to Heung-min Son. We gave him a 5. He could have even potentially got a 4, to be honest. I thought he tried. The first 20 minutes, first half an hour, he was peppering them a little bit, but after that, he literally gave us nothing. Second half, I don't think I even saw him.
I thought Valencia had him in his pocket, really.
He really did.
Apart from that,
Valencia could have got sent off, to be honest, though.
Yeah, he should have, but that was not to do with Son. But yeah, he should have been sent off. But the thing with Sonny, he was trying dribbles, but his dribbling was just not on point this game. He kept getting dispossessed. He was kind of weak in the challenge.
But I thought starting Son, kind of played into their hands because United are going to sit deep. I thought if you play Lamela there, at least Lamela's going to press them high up the pitch. Son's trying to try getting him behind.
I hear that. I guess maybe Poch got it wrong in terms of playing Lamela last week and playing Son this. He maybe could have switched it around in terms of Son could have exploited the space in behind City defence, and Lamela could have kind of created something in behind the United defence to sit deep. So it remains to be seen, or not doesn't remain to be seen, he clearly didn't get that right. But Son, except for that one moment in the first half where he whipped a lovely ball into Harry Kane just missing out, didn't see much of him, and it was a shame because he's kind of gone off the boil a bit since Harry Kane came back in the team. He stepped up when Kane was injured, but he hasn't done much since Kane came back in the team.
I'll tell you what, Kane coming back in the team has hindered us a bit.
I
wouldn't put the blame on Kane because obviously I love Kane. He's our best player, but
we were just looking electric when
we
he was
we
out.
were looking really free flowing up top when he wasn't there, and now it's kind of we're looking a bit. I don't know what the word is, but we're not looking good.
And to be fair, even just before Kane was injured, like we were having games like Palace where we weren't looking at our best and we were struggling to create chances, winning by the goal. And then he got injured against Bournemouth. All of a sudden we won 4-1 against Bournemouth. We beat Swansea 3-0. And there was another game we won by a big mark. We beat Chelsea 3-1. So maybe, I don't know what it is. Maybe.
Do you think we rely too much on Kane when he's playing?
Possibly. Well, let's move on to Harry Kane.
Yeah.
So let's move on to Harry Kane. We gave him a 5.
Yeah.
Again, first 20 minutes, I thought he actually started the game quite well. Not shooting wise, but I thought holding the ball up.
Yeah, but he was finding himself in all sorts of areas in the pitch. He was like back defending. He was in the midfield. He was everywhere for the first 20 minutes, and then dropped off. He
tried to get a goal in that first minute, didn't he? He had a shot right at the start of the game. I remember he laid the ball off lovely for Eriksen, who shot just wide after we went 1-0 up. Could have been 2 at that point. But after that, I thought Smalling and Jones completely snuffed him out. They were pressing him really hard. Whenever he got the ball, they were all over him. Whenever he got a shot off, it was blocked. And he really, really struggled. And, the FA the FA or the Emirates Cup? They did that tweet after the game.
It was the FA.
It was the FA. So, they did a tweet with Chris Smalling saying, "Chris, what's in your pockets?" And he's like, "Harry Kane," which they have since apologised for. But I think they're completely right. He was in Smalling's pocket. And it was a shame because there was a lot of build-up into this game. Is Kane fully fit? Because he's struggled in the past few games, and he kind of, for anyone who was wondering if he wasn't fully fit, that kind of played into that narrative because he just didn't look 100. He didn't look 100% during the whole game, and he didn't look his sharpest. I can't remember one save he drew out the hair.
I don't know if it's down to injury or just down to being snuffed out.
Yeah, probably tactics. More down to tactics than injury. I'd say.
Mourinho's tactics would have been all revolved around stopping Harry Kane.
And going back to your question before, when Kane's on the pitch, do we rely too much on him? There's a good case for that. Considering how we played without him, all of a sudden Eriksen was getting goals, Ali was getting more goals, Son was getting goals, and now Kane's back in the team. All of a sudden, it's like if Kane doesn't score, we don't score. And I don't know what's going on. So it's a big question mark.
And do you think maybe he's even trying a bit too hard to chase that golden boot?
I don't. Well, first of all, this game doesn't count towards a goal.
No, I know that, but I'm just saying in general because we're talking about our form since Kane's been back.
I don't think that's the issue. No, I don't think that's the issue because you saw like Kane can be unselfish and he's very good at his passing. He can hold up the ball extremely well. So I wouldn't say that's the issue. I would just say sometimes he can just try too hard in general. I remember when he went through that period right at the beginning of that 15-16 season when he went 9 games without a goal. He was just trying way too hard. He was like he wasn't letting things flow. And sometimes when Kane gets in that mode, it's hard to shake out of it. But sometimes all of a sudden he can break out of that mode when things come more naturally. He starts shooting first time. He doesn't take the extra touch. And I think he needs to go back to that. I think maybe at the moment he's just trying too hard, taking that extra touch, thinking about it a bit too much. And we'll see how. But then again, he has got 2 goals in the last 4 games, which isn't the worst, even though he hasn't been great. But just shows what a great striker he is.
All right. So we move on to Pochettino.
Yep.
We gave him a 5.
Yep.
What can I say about Pochettino? You know, I thought the lineup was all right. Apart from maybe I would have started Lloris, I would have started Toby, and I probably would have started Lamela as well.
Well, before the game you said Son there, didn't you?
Before the game?
Yeah.
No, before the game I would have said Lamela as well.
For me, I would.
You know I love Lamela in these big games.
Yeah, I know. And I think in this kind of game, when United taking deep, he probably could have used him. Because he's good at finding these little passes. He's a tight little dribbler as opposed to Son, who kind of likes more space, which United are never going to give you. So I see your logic there, but I don't. I think most people, if you would have asked them the team before the game, they would have said Son.
Yeah,
in all honesty.
I agree.
But I personally would have started Toby just because in these massive games he has that experience, and I think he came in against Brighton. He was like the Toby we know of old. He was so calm and composed on the ball, and I felt like him and Vertonghen together would have dealt with Lukaku better than Sanchez and Vertonghen did. Apart from that, I can see why you would have started Lloris. I can see why he started Vorm. I know I'm not going to bash him about that. I can understand both arguments, but I think for me the biggest issue is just after we went 2-1 down, there was just nothing, absolutely nothing.
And the question marks again.
He brought on Lucas, who did all right.
Yeah, but too late.
Well, he brought him with 20 minutes to go.
No, we were crying out for a change throughout that whole second half. We were struggling.
Well, listen, we went 2-1 down after 65 minutes. He came on after 70. So
yeah, I feel he should have made the change before we went 2-1 down.
Maybe there's an argument for that.
There's definitely an argument for that. We were struggling in that second half big time.
I thought before we went 2-1 down, it was very even. It was very even before we went 2-1 down. I think that's unfair.
It was dangerous.
I think that's unfair.
It was very dangerous.
I disagree with you. I think that goal came out of the blue. And I think it was a very tight game. I think actually, to be honest, if you look at it in all honesty, that second goal was a really lucky goal. I know we
were still crying out for changes. We weren't doing anything. We weren't attacking their goal. We needed changes.
It was a tight game. It was a very tight. It was very evenly balanced. You wouldn't say
for a game like that, so evenly balanced. Mourinho is always going to come up on top. We need to be proactive and make those changes early.
But I would say maybe there's an argument that if you would have changed it too early, you could have changed things in a different way. You never know how changes are going to affect the game, and it could affect it in a negative way. When it's so tight, I don't think you could have, before we conceded that goal, I don't think you can look at that second half and say, oh, Spurs are definitely going to go on and lose this game if it continues like this. I don't think it was that kind of aura about the game. I think the goal kind of came out of the blue and it was a very lucky goal. Having said that, we went 2-1 down.
I felt we were going to lose as soon as they got the equaliser.
I completely agree with you. Once we went 2-1 down.
No, equaliser.
Oh, once because they dominated that second half of the first half as well. But I felt before they scored in the second half, it was a very even game. I don't think it was one of those games you could definitely say we're going to go on and lose.
I don't think it was as even as you're saying. I think United were on top.
I don't think they were before they scored. I thought they were on top in the second half of the first half. I agree with you there. I thought once the second half came out, I don't think they were on top. I thought it was a very even game. But having said that, what I would say is after we went 2-1 down, there was nothing there. There was no passion.
But what was there? What was there when it was 1-1 in the second half?
I thought we were showing a bit.
What were we showing?
I thought we were showing a bit. I thought it was a very even game. I thought Kane was getting in some nice positions. I thought.
Did we have a chance?
Yeah, I thought Kane had a couple of chances, if I remember rightly, just before. But
you're talking about chances or half chances?
Half chances. But what do United have? Nothing. They didn't have any chances as well. That's what I'm saying. It's even.
United at least had a few shots on goal. You know what I mean?
That's what are half chances?
No, they had proper chances.
No, they didn't. No, before they scored, they didn't.
They did.
No, they didn't. Listen, I understand what you're saying, but I'm just that's my opinion. I think maybe like he changed it 5 minutes after he scored. Maybe he could have changed it straight away. You could argue that. Lucas came on and looked okay, but he didn't do much. But the lack of belief that we had when we went 2-1 down, but you could even see with Poch when you could see that goal, his head's down like that. He just didn't. There was kind of that aura like we're already defeated just after conceding that goal, and that's what really hurt the most. We didn't look like even creating any chances, let alone scoring a goal after we went 2-1 down. And whether you can put that down to Poch, you can argue that he probably has to have some blame for that. And especially all the stuff that he said before the game in the press conference, winning
that
this
really
trophy,
pissed me off, to be honest.
Winning this trophy wouldn't change much for this team. I get the argument, but I don't think it was the right time to say it. I don't think
you cannot say that
just
2 days before an FA Cup semi-final.
He knew how much this game meant to all the fans and how much.
It's a bit criminal
to
say that, to be honest. It really is.
And I think it maybe led to the defeated attitude that led into those last 25 minutes.
Definitely, I think those comments fed down to the players. We didn't show enough passion in that game. We didn't show. If we showed those passion in the first 15 minutes for the whole game, then fine. I would take that, even if we were to lose. But it's the way we went about losing and not showing that passion that we show so often. But also it leads to question marks for Poch. Look at the 3 cup competitions we've gone out. 2-0 up to West Ham.
Yep. Lost
3-2. Against Juve, ahead against Juve, ahead against United and losing. Are these question marks for Poch?
You have to say, maybe. But you have to look. If you look at our form overall in the season, I remember I saw this stat a few weeks ago. When we take the lead, we're generally extremely good at holding on to a lead, especially in the league.
Not in cup competitions.
But that's what I'm saying. In cup competitions, maybe he needs to alter the way we play. Maybe he needs to think of it in a different way in cup competitions than he does to the league, because clearly something's wrong in these big games. When we get to real crunch times, maybe he needs to be more practical. As we've said before, like when we're 1-0 up in these games, we've got to maybe bring the opposition onto us and hit them on the break, like we did against Madrid at Wembley, we won 3-1, or against Dortmund. Sometimes you just got to get in that mode where we've got the lead. We're not the ones who have the pressure on us. We can sit deep a bit. We can hit them on the counter and exploit their space instead of continually going for more goals and leaving space in behind when we're the ones in the lead. Maybe he needs to look at that. But having said that, he's still. I know he's been here 4 years now, which is a significant amount of time. But he's still, for a coach, he's 46, it's still pretty young. So there's still a lot of space to grow. Going into next season, I think that he can learn from this. Something we know from Poch, he tends to learn from his mistakes.
You say he does tend to learn from his mistakes. That's 100% true. But it's the same story in these big games over and over again.
I agree with you. But having said that, like last season, it was a different case in terms of that Chelsea game.
Last year we were better in the semi-final.
Yeah, but we were never in the lead.
No, we were never in the lead.
And in the Champions League, we're in the Champions League.
Yeah, but I prefer a semi-final like that because at least you show the passion and the heart for 90 minutes.
I know, but I'm saying it's different. Last season was like, for example, in the Champions League, right? In all those games, we're always behind chasing. In the semi-final, we're always behind chasing. In the League Cup, who do we go? We lost to Liverpool in the League Cup. We're always behind chasing, right? And this season, it's a different problem. We'll get ahead, and all of a sudden we keep getting pegged back, and we keep, not being able to hold on to lead. So
it's because our defence isn't as good as it was last season.
No, I think first of all that is definitely true, but I think it's also a case of just the approach we take in these games. I think we have to be more practical when we take the lead. I think we need to get weight on teams sometimes when these big teams, when we have a lead. We have to invite some pressure on us and then kind of exploit their space instead of always trying to leave space in behind us, even when we're the ones in the lead. I think it's a different problem to last season.
I back Poch to change things, and because I love the man so much, and I back him.
All these people I read, he's taken us as far as he's come.
Oh, that's all bollocks.
It's all rubbish. Poch is a fantastic manager, and I think since he's come into this club, he's been absolutely phenomenal. It was an absolute mess when he took over, and I think
Yunus Kabul was the club captain.
Exactly, that's how much of a mess we had. Adebayor and Soldado up front, and Adebayor
was vice captain.
Exactly. And what he's done to transform that team to what we have today, we're complaining about, just about losing to Juventus and, losing to United in the semi-finals, very different to the problems we had back then. But where we are, you have to say now, we are at a stage where we have one of the best defences in the league in terms of Vertonghen. In terms of the players, Vertonghen, we had Toby's been injured. Hugo's was one of the best keepers in the league. Dembele, on his day, one of the best central midfielders. Ali, Eriksson, Son, you'll rival any front three, any attacking midfielders in the league. And Kane's probably the best striker in the league. Having that team, having built that team, and now having that team, is there an argument that he's kind of not achieving what he could with this group of players? You could probably argue yes.
I think so.
You could probably argue, yes, he's built that team, amazing achievement. Now he's got this team. Is there an argument he's kind of not overachieving anymore? He's kind of achieving par,
or
under par, maybe underachieving. There's an argument to be had there, but I think he's earned the respect and he's earned his way for this team to getting us to this point. So you've got to back him going forward. But I think I see there is an argument for he's not achieving enough with the players he has built.
It's going to be a big summer for Spurs this summer.
Massive.
It is a massive summer because, with the stadium and everything, if they're talking about, I've heard rumours about, we've got 130, 150 million to spend. Who knows if that's true or not?
Who knows? But even that, it's not even that much money these days.
Exactly. But if we have another summer of not spending and breaking even,
getting more in Kudus and getting in Gs,
then I fear the worst for Tottenham. I really do.
I think there will be another summer breaking even.
So I fear the worst because
that's what I think.
Because if we have another season like we did this season, scraping into the top four, not winning anything, getting to the last 16, maybe into group stages of the Champions League, that's going to be a very poor season next season.
Considering it's
and if we can somehow hold on to our players this summer, and the same thing happens next season, they're definitely off the next summer.
You'd have to say so.
And if this team starts breaking up, then the fans are going to start rising up. All this money that everyone's paying on their season tickets, it's
going to come to a head.
Exactly.
And that's what we fear. We don't want this place to turn toxic. We don't want it to be like that club down the road where
both those clubs.
But exactly where the fan base is just every week they're going to matches, they're putting banners up, they're complaining, it's just like a bit of a toxic atmosphere, and even West Ham as well. And we know at the moment, I feel like we've got such a great team that we can get behind, and we don't want to turn this. If we do start, dropping into fifth, dropping in Europa League, playing in that new stadium in Europa League, I do fear that some of the fan base will grow larger.
It's not even in playing. Even if you're scraping into the Champions League every year, I feel it's going to turn toxic.
Potentially.
Spurs need to win a trophy desperately, just to keep the fans happy. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And I feel like what the club have done with these season ticket prices is a big error.
They've messed up this whole.
It's a big error, and I don't think they're not gonna go back on it. Clearly,
but I don't know. None of these 1882 in the South Stand have been sold. There's been
clearly it's a big, massive.
5 or 10% tickets have been sold.
Yeah, and
they have to go back on that. They have to. And even I was thinking the other day, these 1882, they're banging in the middle of the South Stand.
Yeah.
These corporates, they don't make their way back to the seats till about 10-15 minutes into the second half, into the first half.
Yeah, just imagine Dortmund in the middle of that wall. There's a bunch of corporates.
You know what I mean? And it's just empty for the first 10 minutes of the second half.
Dortmund
doesn't make sense.
Exactly, or like Anfield. Imagine the Kop just being completely empty for the beginning of the second half, like the middle. Like imagine only half a flag there. You know what I mean?
Doesn't make sense.
It's these are supposed to be hardcore fans. Ththese are supposed to be the ones who are creating the atmosphere. Exactly, and to have a bunch of people. Listen, I don't want to denigrate these people because they have a lot of money, but it tends to be not these kind of people who are the ones making the noise. These are usually the people sitting in corporate boxes.
You don't need to be politically correct here, Sim.
I'm just saying, maybe just because you're rich doesn't mean you don't want to sing. That's what I'm saying. But it just tends to be that kind of people. It's not those kind of people who do.
It's not if you're rich. It's if you choose to buy those kind of tickets.
Yeah, usually. Exactly, and
You can still have a lot of money and
Yeah.
just buy a normal ticket.
Yeah, but it's
You know what I mean?
but the demographic of people who usually make the noise are just young fans, usually between the ages of like 16, like 25, like or 30, that kind of area is usually where you're looking at, and those people can't afford those tickets when you're that age. And I think they've just really messed up. I think there's something a bit insidious into how they've done it, because they've marketed.
You're saying I'm older than the demographic now of
No,
singing fans.
no. You make it. You're not over 30, are you?
Oh, I thought you said 25.
No, 25 or 30. I think the way they've marketed it as 1882, which is very synonymous with that 1882, the movement, which was brought in at White Hart Lane. I think they've capitalised on that. They've branded it as that, and they've also kind of branded this the stand as the stand that's going to make all the atmosphere, and then they've stuck these corporate seats in there because
they've sold this dream of the white wall, and they've filled the middle up with corporates. It just doesn't make any sense whatsoever.
And you know what? You could maybe forgive that, maybe, if the other seats were somewhat more affordable. But the fact of the matter is, the cheapest seats are what, $795, which is a joke. How many of those are anyway? Is like a couple of thousand. To take those away, you get that, and then it's like $950. Like, those are the cheapest seats. And you look at Arsenal, who before us used to have the most expensive season tickets. Their most expensive is like near that price. And
see,
what they
should have done is double the price of the corporate tickets and give us the normal prices. You know 100%. What I mean? Like, season ticket for Tottenham should be no more than £700-800 tops.
And when fans say, we haven't won a trophy for 10 years, and then we're charging the most expensive in the league or even in Europe, they have a point.
100%.
They have a point. You can't argue against it. Yes, we have a great team, no doubt about it. Yes, I love watching this team. Yes, this is probably what the money I'm paying now. I'm getting value for money watching this team because it's great football. But going into next season, I agree with these fans saying we haven't won a trophy for 10 years. Why are we forced to pay the most expensive price in Europe? It's an absolute joke. Why, when you got Man United, you've got Man City, you got these other teams who are winning trophies every season, and their fans are paying a lot less than us.
And the worst thing about it all, revenue you make from ticket sales is literally what, like 5-10% of your
last season at White Hart Lane, it was 6%. That was the match revenue from last year, and our revenue went up 100 million, and our gate receipts are only 6% of that.
So that money, it doesn't make a difference to the club, basically. If they want to be if they want to have their loyal fans and keep them coming, they should start paying more attention to them.
They need to take a leaf out of the Bayern Munich chairman's book.
The whole German football.
The Bayern Munich chairman said, this was a famous quote. He said, I can't remember when he said it, about 5 years ago. He said, why? Because he was asked why they charge about £200 per season for a season ticket. He said, for the club, a difference in a few £100 is about 2 million. Right, overall, which you probably haggle in a transfer deal for about 2 minutes, over 2 million. But for a fan, a few £100 more is the world. It's everything. So we don't want to screw over our fans. We want to make other fans, make it affordable for them to come, and we'll leave the big money for us, for the transfers and for all that. Why should we be exploiting the fans when we don't need to? And that's what football should be about. And I just don't get that from the Spurs board. I don't get it with these prices. And I feel like if things... it might be.
It's not even just that. All of us has been so loyal for so many years, stuck with them through the proper shit we had to watch for the last 15 years. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I think they've done a phenomenal job to get to where they are. Just get to where we are now. And I appreciate that. But
we're owed a little payback.
Of course we are. Because even at White Hart Lane, prices weren't cheap. And and the amount of crap we used to watch.
I've seen us lose to Chelsea 4-0 twice in a week.
Exactly.
We were even recently under Pochettino. We went up to Newcastle. We lost 5-1 last game of the season. We've been through so much pain.
But the thing is,
with little reward.
But what I feel like now is, at this moment, I know we're going on. I don't know how long this has been for, but if right now, right? Say a fan wants to, like, say, I'm not going to pay these prices. Right now, this moment, there will be other fans just to come in and
that's the whole problem, you know.
There'll be fans coming in lining. There's a long queue.
You got your South Koreans. You got all these tourists that will come.
But what I'm saying is, in maybe a year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years time, it's not going to be like that.
It will. It will always.
It won't. It won't always be like, because if we start struggling as a football club, it will not be like that. I promise you. People will not be wanting these prices to watch Europa League football. I think that's the case, and I think Spurs are putting themselves in a dangerous position, because if they're not going to pay the top wages to people like Alderweireld and Dembele what they want, and we're going to drop in quality our team
and still have the most expensive tickets,
exactly, then we leave ourselves open to a lot of ridicule. We leave ourselves open to criticism, and we leave ourselves open to having an empty stadium, half empty stadium for a lot of matches.
And I won't blame fans that won't want to come.
Why should they pay the most expensive price in Europe when the chairman is not willing to back the players that we have?
And not only that, but the chairman is the most paid chairman in the league, the most paid person in Tottenham Hotspur Football Club. So I think the whole thing is a bit of a joke at the moment. But anyway, let's stop all this depressing talk.
It's hard. I know it's all. I know this. Listen, I think this is all coming out first mostly because of this semi-final defeat. It brings up a lot of emotions, but I think there is a case. It's hard to ignore it, because these prices, well, what they've done, the club, it's hard to disagree with the opinion that these prices are a slap in the face of the fans. It's hard to disagree with that. I want to back the board. I actually like Levy, what he's done with the club, and I want to back him. But
look, both of us have been massive fans of Levy throughout the years. Obviously, he's made his mistakes.
Mm-hmm. But when you really analyse his prices, you dig deep into them. Yeah, they argue it's not massive price-wise on last season, all that. But you really dig into the nitty-gritty of these prices, and it's hard to defend them.
It doesn't really make sense, does it?
It's hard to defend these prices. That's. But anyway, that was our match ratings. That was our rant.
That's our hour-long rant.
Yeah, very long. Check out. We're going to be obviously at Wembley on Monday for the Watford game, so check out for that. Like, describe, and comment below. Let us know what your player ratings are. Let us know what you think of the season ticket prices. And as always,
come on, you Spurs!